This time we are going to begin the funeral services for Irene Zoot. If you have a cell phone or a pager, we would ask for you to please take a moment to turn it off or place it in the silent mode. And officiating today's services will be Rabbi Eitan Weiner-Kaplow.
גם כי אלך וגץ על מוות לא אירא רע. גם כי אלך וגץ על מוות לא אירא רע. לא אירא רע. לא אירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. לא אירא רע, לא אירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. גם כי אלך בגץ על מוות לא אירא רע. גם כי אלך בגץ על מוות לא אירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. Even though I walk through the valley of the darkest of shadows, I fear no evil, for the Eternal One, God, you are with me. Baruch ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, dayan ha'emet. Holy One of blessing, your presence fills creation. You are the judge of truth. Adonai natan, v'Adonai lakach, yehi shem Adonai mivorach. The Eternal One gives, the Eternal One takes away. May the name of the eternal source of life and love be blessed. And so we are here this day to remember and to memorialize Irene Zoot. 93 years she lived. And what a life, what a legacy. I told the family that when I hear of the story of her life, and know of her 90 years, the words that come to me are simply, well done. Well done. A full life, a rich life, and her legacy is sitting right here on the front bench. What a family. What stories, what memories. We're here to celebrate her life today. And so we join together as a community of family and friends to remember, to memorialize, to seek comfort through the words of the Psalms, through readings of memorial, and through prayer. So I ask everyone to join with Irene's family, with children Shari and Chuck, Karen and John, Laura and Phil. Grandchildren Robert, Julie, Madeline and Mark, Zoe and Tyler, Ethan, Morgan and Benny, Eli and fiance Anna and Spencer, and with great-grandchildren Raya and Leo. Do I have everybody? It's a big family. It's a ganze mishpocha. It's a big, big family. And I also want to recognize that Rabbi Michael Weinberg and Jody are here, and I see Lori Sagrin from Temple Beth Israel. An honor that you are here joining with us today. This is a chance to remember. And so a few readings of memorial in Irene's honor, and a special one that was requested by the family. begins with the Hebrew words, Leida hi reshit uftira tachlit. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage, from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude and pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, death a destination, but life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage made stage by stage from birth to death to life everlasting. And so we continue with the words of the 23rd Psalm. Adonai ro'i lo echzar, bina otesha yarbitzeni al mei menuchot yanahaleni, nafshi yeshovev. For those who received the pamphlet when you arrived, you can find the 23rd Psalm on the inside panel. And for those who wish, let's read together these ancient words. 23rd Psalm. The Eternal One is my shepherd. I shall never be in need. God makes me to lie down in green pastures, leads me beside the still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. And even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Eternal One forever. And so one last reading that occurs to me as something kind of special, because all the stories and all the beautiful memories of Irene's life, and especially this picture on the front, this woman holding that martini glass and holding it with just a sense of joy and confidence, and not only this martini glass, but all the bling that the family is wearing on their clothing, on their lapels today, all these beautiful, beautiful pieces of Irene's jewelry. It's about life. It's about celebrating life. And so a reading called She Is Gone. You can shed tears that she is gone, or you can smile because she lived. You can close your eyes and pray that she will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that she has left us. Your heart can be empty because you cannot see her, or you can be full of the love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow, live in yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. Yes, you can remember her and only that she is gone, or you can cherish her memory and let it live on. You can cry, close your mind, be empty, turn your back, or you can do what she would want, what Irene would want, to smile, open your eyes, love, live, and go on. And go on. there are so many memories to share. There are so many memories to share. And certainly my memories are part of them, because my connection to the Zoot family is through my wife, Dawn, and Karen. Absolutely. I think we met in Israel in 1980. And then when I came to visit Dawn at University of Illinois, Karen was the first person on campus that I saw. And when I met Dawn in Israel in 1979, and she had this strange camera that took all these pictures, 72 pictures on one roll. Where'd you get this? From Karen's father. There's a connection in our family to the Zoot family. It goes way, way, way back. And then I think of that martini glass and the stories you told me about how much she appreciated that martini and that special relationship she had with her dear friend and in-law with Harriet, and the martinis that they would share and the lobster rolls. Did I mention lobster rolls? That she loved so very, very much. Irene was born and raised in Boston, the youngest of 8 sisters. And when I asked for the names of the other 7, you had them. Alice and Eva, Anna, Faye, Goldie, Ricky, and Ida. Daughters of Saul and Frida. Irene came to Chicago at age 16 to live with a sister. They lived on the West Side. And she had lots of nieces and nephews, some her own age and some even older than she. Do the math, it makes sense. Family was Orthodox, and Irene told a story from childhood. Being in shul one Shabbat morning, and her mother sent her into the men's section to give the father a message. And she was young, so she could do that. And she told the story how wonderful it was to not only give that little message, to whisper it, but when her father wrapped her in his tallis and kind of gave her a hug there during services. And in high school, she was in the B'nai B'rith Youth Organization, BBG, and she was the queen of the local AZA Boys chapter at Marshall High. She played accordion. Absolutely. She was artistic. She was creative. I would love to see, if you have any videos of her playing accordion, I would love to see that. Because that's special. That's a special instrument. That brings smiles. She met Alan on a blind date. She was 19, he was 25, and they were married. They moved to Florida, then they were married in 1950. They moved back to Chicago. And she was a mom. She was a housewife. There are lots and lots of stories to share. But at this time, I'd like to call on members of the family to speak. I want to call first on Morgan, then Madeline, then Julie. Please. Okay.
Hi, I'm Morgan, and I had written a poem for my grandma in 2010 that I hunted for in the storage unit yesterday and found, and it didn't feel like the right poem to read, so I wrote a new one titled Irene. They say home is where your heart is. It's not 4 walls held upright by roof and nails. It's not skin and breath. It's not something you touch. Home is the smell of opium perfume, wearing itself into the cotton of your shirt after she pulls you in for a hug, the lingering fragrance, another thread of your shirt. Home is her lipstick tattooed over your cheek after she kisses you hello, the perfect shade of pink transferring to her thumb as she leans to wipe it from your skin. Home is a sparkling pin you wear to remember the way she was chic and classic and always dressed for the occasion, the pin sticking into your skin from clumsy fingers before resting over your heart. Home is the photos and videos and memories we carry like a secret garden shared between you and her, each memory special to us because each of us was so special to her. Home is the love she filled us with, warm like a balloon rising to the clouds beyond eyesight, but you know it's there. Home is a feeling of soft and fierce power, her silence that always spoke so loud. Home is us tending to our wounds and nurturing the other, because home is how she always made us feel yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Irene, my Gammy was so special to me. When I was a kid, we lived a few hours away, but with my Gammy and Papa Al, distance never felt far. Some of my earliest memories are playing jump rope with the long, coiled cord of the phone in the kitchen as it stretched across the space, as my mom held the receiver between her ear and shoulder, talking to my Gammy. But I'll also never forget the feeling of pulling into their driveway in Skokie, fizzing with excitement to see her. When we were together, her love filled up the room. She couldn't wait to get her hands on me and Zoe, squeezing us tight, tickling our backs with her manicured nails, her, "Oh, I missed you, I love you, I love you, I love you." When my daughter Raya was born in 2020, it brought a new special dynamic to our relationship. I knew she wanted to see me, but she was so driven to spend time with that baby, to hold her, squeeze her, to make her cry with pinching and nudging. I got to watch her love fill up the room with Raya and my son Leo, who she loved so much. Now that she isn't here, my sadness fills up the room. It's safe to say that none of us have lived in a world where Irene Zoot wasn't in it. So I'm trying to hold both the fact that I miss her so much and that her love will never go away.
Shouldn't have gone last. My grandmother had more style than I could ever hope for. She loved things that were sparkly or sequined, as you can see by the fact that we're all wearing her pins, and Madeline and I, completely uncoordinated, both wore sparkly shoes today. And because we were roughly the same build, and I am the only one in the family who wore the same shoe size, over the past 15 years or so, I was lucky enough to receive many of her cast-offs. It was not unusual for me to go visit her and find a shoebox or a pile of sweaters by the front door that she had set aside for me. Now, it's important to note that if you ever received an Irene Zoot cast-off that she had actually worn, there was a multi-step process that you had to go through to neutralize the unique blend of opium, mothballs, and other scents that clung to all of my mother's clothing. Worked for her, did not work for me. Sometime last year, I was helping my grandmother look for something in her closet, and I saw a pair of silver glitter Vans, because what 92-year-old doesn't need skater shoes? I joked to her that if she was ever sick of them, I knew where they could find a good home. Sure enough, the next time I visited her, those shoes were set aside for me by the front door, and I'm wearing them today. This is not an uncommon thing for our family. I believe that's also how Morgan got this thing that she's wearing. If you mentioned you liked something of hers, it would likely be yours soon. But that's just the way my grandmother was. She would literally give you the shoes off her feet because nothing made my grandmother happier than making the people she loved happy, and gift giving was one of the many ways that she expressed her love. When my cousins and I were growing up, family Hanukkah gatherings were big affairs. My grandparents' house would be filled with towering piles of presents for each grandchild, and only slightly smaller piles for her daughters and sons-in-law. The gifts would range from the practical, sweaters, winter gear, socks, etc., to the slightly odd, like when I was 13 and she gave me a pair of black pleather pants for some reason, to the goofy, like the countless Uncle John's bathroom readers she gave her sons-in-law year after year, or the annual Guinness Book of World Records for her grandsons. There were also completely random gifts, the ones she would find at some trunk show or gift show that she would attend with her friend Charlotte, or that she would randomly hear about and ask one of her daughters or sons-in-law to help her find and order online. The ones which she would send in care packages to her grandchildren at school with no real note or explanation, just a card that was simply signed, "Loved Grandma Irene," or Gammy, depending on who you were. Or in Morgan's case, not signed at all. But you would always know if the gift was of a higher caliber if shortly after you unwrapped it, she said 4 little words. "It's good you know." "It's good you know" was a catch-all phrase for my grandmother. She would use it to distinguish real jewelry from costume jewelry, real leather from faux, or just in general to let you know something was maybe just a little pricier and you should be careful with it. Gift giving was just one of my grandmother's many ways of expressing her love. But of all the saw it and thought of you gifts, the Uncle John's bathroom readers, the toys, the costume jewelry, the real jewelry, the many, many, many sweaters we all received from her over the years, or the less tangible gifts she passed down to us, like a love of cooking and baking, or an appreciation of, and for some of us, not me, but some of us, a talent for art, a sharp sense of humor and wit, and many, many more traits. At the risk of sounding too schmaltzy, truly the best gift any of us ever received from Irene Zoot was her intense, unshakable love. And I think we can all agree that it was good you know. That was perfect.
Thank you. Some more things to know about Irene. She was a great cook. She joined and was a leader at the PTA, not so politically active, but certainly shared her views. At one point, she was an election poll worker, and when a local referendum came up to support the school, she was all behind it, especially with the empty nesters who didn't seem to care very much. She reminded them that they should care very much. She had no family, much family in Chicago. Her friends became her family. She became the ultimate friend. Things she loved in life. Irene loved her daughters, her sons-in-law. She loved gift giving at Hanukkah. Lots of gifts at Hanukkah. She loved the scents, the opium perfume, or the scent of bagels, fresh bagels when you entered the house. She loved thinking and being with the people she loved. At the kitchen table, the dining room table, there was always room for others. She was generous. She was a gracious host. Alan, the two of them traveled. They went to England and loved it so much that they kept extending their stay for a while. They went to Hong Kong, to Door County, Traverse City. They would drive to Milwaukee just on a whim to go for dinner. She loved to knit. And then the cooking. I asked if you had any favorite recipes in mind, and the list just came out. Her ribs, did I mention she liked ribs? And the lobster rolls, and the pumpkin cake, and the Mandelbrot, and the coffee cake, and the burgers she loved so much, and the martinis, and the brisket, her chocolate bun cake. She loved a can of Tab soda. If any of you remember what Tab was, I don't think it's around anymore. Maybe you can find it. Diet Right Cola, that was her favorite. And she loved making minute rice and noodles. She was a big reader. She loved to do crossword puzzles. She loved to go to antique shows and estate sales and garage sales, find those hidden treasures. And I asked you, what was Irene's legacy? What are the words that describe the person that she was? And the first word that came out of all of you was, she was tough. She was tough. Yep. She was a quiet force. She had a very special ability to motivate through guilt. She could do it. She was the queen of the cold shoulder, you said. And she was never wrong. And she loved her sisters. And she loved her family. And she followed you all on Facebook. And there was something else about her. She loved when her daughters came home on time. Because if you didn't come home on time, apparently there would be the burning ember. You would come home, and there she would be awake in the dark with just the glow of the cigarette, and you knew she was up and waiting. And if you were really late, the chain was on the door. And now you had to ring the doorbell to wake her up to get in the house. And if you were really, really late, Irene and Alan were standing on the driveway waiting for you. Absolutely. All three daughters kind of were shaking when they were describing this. It's still a part of your life, I can tell. And yet that's how much she loved you. That's how much she loved you. Irene really never understood how much people appreciated her, how much people really loved and admired her. She was surprised to find that out. She really thought that it was Alan who was the kind of personality and the draw in the family, but it was her. She was a woman of makeup and jewelry and nails and hair, lipstick, fashion, her dress. She was a woman of valor. She was a woman of courage. She was an Eshet Chayil. Eshet Chayil mi yimtza, v'rachok mipninim michra. A woman of valor who can find her worth as far above rubies. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and so he lacks nothing. She renders him good, never harm all the days of her life. She perceives that her labor is rewarding. Her candle burns on into the night. Oz vehadar levusha v'tischak liyom acharon. She is clothed in strength and dignity and faces the future with a smile, with optimism. Her children come forward and bless her. Her husband praises her, saying, "Many women have done well, but you surpass them all." Place before her the fruit of her hands, and wherever people gather, her deeds speak her praise. We will miss you, Irene, and you will always be with us. May your memory be for a blessing, and may you rest in peace. Zichrona livracha. May her memory be for a blessing. Each of us has our own memories, our own recollections. I ask that we pause for a few moments of silent memorial for each of us to remember Irene Zoot in our own unique ways. Pause for just a few moments. At this time, we continue with the chanting of El Malei Rachamim. This is the traditional Jewish blessing which asks that Irene's soul, her legacy, live on. And indeed, it will live on. It will live on through the memories of all those who love her. It will live on through all that she brought to this world, through her life, through the difference that she made for having lived. In a few moments, I'll be asking everyone to rise. I quickly add that for anyone present for whom standing is difficult, of course, you may remain seated. The others, please rise for El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bameromim, המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה. עם קדושים וטהורים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת חיה בת זבל ופרידה שהלכה לעולמה. בעל הרחמים יסתיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה ותנוח בשלום על משכבה. ונאמר אמן. May our hearts be open to compassion and our eyes to wisdom, that we might glimpse in perfect peace and sadness the way of all things. May the memory of Irene Zoot, the daughter of Saul and Frida, who is known in Jewish tradition as Chaya bat Zavel Ufrida, be for us a blessing. And may we never let the light of her love grow dim in our hearts. May we remember all her worthy and righteous deeds, that her memory be forever bound up in the bond of life. The Eternal One is our source and our destination, our beginning and our end. And so may the death of Irene Zoot awaken us to this truth, that the bond of love we shared will not be severed in sorrow. May she rest in peace, and let us all say, Amen. You may be seated, everyone. When we arrive at the cemetery for the ceremony of interment, the lowering of the casket and placing earth in the grave, we'll be reciting the mourner's Kaddish. And the Kaddish ends with a sentence, Oseh shalom bimromav, v'ya'aseh shalom. May the one who causes peace to reign in the highest of heavens bring shalom to all of us, to all who dwell on earth, to all Israel, to everyone. And this is a tune that was very beloved. Really, Irene loved very much. Oseh shalom v'imromav, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imeru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imeru amen. Following the service at graveside, you'll all be invited back to the house for Shiva'ah. And for those who are not familiar with Shiva, it's the Jewish way that we bring healing and support and comfort to those who are in mourning. The word Shiva'ah, Shiva means 7, traditional days of mourning following a funeral. When you arrive at the Shiva house, no need to knock on the door or ring the bell. The door will be unlocked. If you've been at the cemetery, you'll probably see a small table with some paper towels and a pitcher of water. It's a tradition that we wash our hands when we return from the cemetery. And when you enter the house of Shiva, know that your presence alone is enough. And when we search for words to say, let them be words about Irene, stories and memories, words that bring comfort to those who are in mourning. You'll see lots of food at the Shiva house. And the tradition is clear. The food is there for the mourners. It's our way of bringing comfort and healing. In our Jewish way, we know that we're doing our job to support them if we see them eating. So when you speak to one of the mourners, ask them if they want something to eat, if you can get them something to drink. The most important piece, though, is to know that your presence alone is enough to bring comfort and healing. Your presence alone is enough. This concludes our service, and I'll wait for our funeral directors to guide us to the next part.
And friends, this does conclude the services here at the chapel. The interment and burial services will continue at West Lawn Cemetery in Norridge. For those of you traveling with us to the cemetery in the funeral procession, please do keep the following safety precautions in mind. Please make sure that your bright headlights and your four-way hazard flashers are on. Please be sure to obtain an orange funeral safety sticker for your windshield, and please note that many of the cars in the procession will have a magnetic orange flag placed on top of their car. Please travel as close as safety permits to the car in front of you to avoid any gaps in the procession. And for your own safety and security, I would suggest not speaking or texting while driving to the cemetery and the funeral procession. And as we make our way through the intersections, please try to stay as close to the car as possible. If the light does change, please try to proceed with caution and feel free to use your horn liberally as we make our way through the intersections on the way to the cemetery. As the rabbi mentioned, following the interment, the family will be together at the Bierman residence for Shiva at 441 Regent Drive in Buffalo Grove today until 8 p.m. And tomorrow's Shiva at the Granite residence from 5 until 8 at 1315 West 32nd Place in Chicago. The family has also requested any memorial contributions to either the Kokomo Humane Society or to Planned Parenthood, and that information is available in the service folder that you should have received when you came into the chapel today. If not, we do have it for you as you leave. And for those of you joining us online, all of the information about Shiva and memorial contributions is available on our website. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise and stand in place. We're asking for the grandchildren to come forward to serve as pallbearers as we escort the casket, the family, and the rabbi from the chapel.